Afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, and hope you will enjoy the presentation. But what I would hope to tell you today is about the architect of Randhurst Center, Victor Gruen. He really was a man with an architectural vision, but unfortunately, like a great many things, what actually happens changes what's supposed to happen. So our story begins in New York Harbor in 1938. The Holland-American liner SS Stadendam languished into the bustling harbor after a long journey across the Atlantic Ocean. On board the Stadendam was a 35-year-old refugee named Victor Gruen and his wife, Lizzie. He was a Viennese architect. So Gruen's rise to fame was a classic American success story that was juxtaposed against two of the nation's most trying experiences. Gruen was fortunate to find work in the city not long after his arrival. In 1939, as the world stood on the brink of war, the 1939 World's Fair opened in Queens. Gruen worked on the production team that produced General Motors' Futurama, by far the fair's most popular attraction. On the heels of his success at the World's Fair, Gruen caught another break when he was strolling down Fifth Avenue and by sheer coincidence ran into a Viennese acquaintance, Ludwig Lederer. Lederer now sought to design a store on glamorous Fifth Avenue and hired Gruen on the spot. Throughout the war and into the 1950s, Gruen continued to design storefronts to much acclaim, and later moved on to designing freestanding department stores on the outskirts of bustling cities and towns. By the end of the war, Gruen had moved on to designing something of a newfangled concept, the automobile shopping center. By 1950, Gruen had established his own architectural firm and was enjoying increasing fame in post-war America. Gruen's center designs were slowly but surely coming to fruition. Gruen Associates was arguably the hottest and hippest firm in the country, maintaining offices in 5 cities. It was attracting a variety of young superstar architects. It was during this period that Gruen set up an office in Chicago because of, quote, increasing volume of work in the Midwest. The largest of these commissions, and coinciding with the announcement of Gruen's Chicago offices, was Randhurst Shopping Center. Randhurst was perhaps Gruen's greatest actualization. Randhurst was continuously and lavishly expanded. The center was originally planned as a standalone Carson Peary Scott shopping center following a Chicagoland helicopter survey by Carson's officials in 1959. It was announced shortly afterward in a move that shocked commercial real estate observers that the center was to be a joint venture of 3 of Chicago's most powerful retailers, which in addition to Carson's would contain Weebolt's and Montgomery Ward under the banner of its recently acquired The Fair Store. Construction commenced on December 5th of 1960. The massive 1.25 million square foot center was constructed in the shape of a triangle to minimize walking distance, with observers dubbing it, quote, the big pinwheel on the prairie. The hub of the pinwheel was an elegant, monumental, 4-tiered landmark known as the Galleria. A 200-ton sprayed concrete dome awed shoppers, while a row of stained glass sculptures flanking windows at the dome's base provided the appropriate level of hushed lighting, by no coincidence evocative of the awe of a medieval cathedral. Just below the dome, shoppers could dine and relax at the floating Treetop Restaurant or the Bird's Nest Cocktail Lounge. The massive structure billed as, quote, the world's largest shopping center under one roof opened to fanfare unprecedented in Mount Prospect. He took the opportunity to dote heavily on the many meticulous features of the center in the days after the grand opening, telling a Chicago construction publication, quote, Randhurst planned not only to serve the shopping needs of the surrounding population, but by virtue of its environmental characteristics, to become a social meeting ground and civic and cultural point. Randhurst Shopping Center, for its part, was not only the height of Gruen's retailing dreams in suburbia, it was among his greatest legacies.